One of the fastest ways to get around Minecraft is the elytra, and with the elytra, you need rockets, and with rockets, you need gunpowder. So today we're establishing an industry in our orcish Wild West town, Tuskstone, by building a creeper factory, because nothing quite screams Wild West orcs more than the sounds of the war industry. For this build, we want to encase a creeper farm inside of an orcish tower decorated with bony spires. Tuskstone is a reimagination of the Wild West Americas fused with orcish architecture. But for this tower, I want to lean heavier on the orcish side of things, so we're taking inspiration from the orcish city Orgrimmar from World of Warcraft, specifically this tower in the back. But before we work on the orcish tower, I wanted to show our interior for the orcish ranch house that we built in the last episode. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to World Building with Shouhi. I've been working a little bit more on our orcish ranch. Hello, my guy back there. There you go. A dead zombie is a good zombie. But we've been working a little more on our orcish ranch here. We added a few stacks of wheat hanging around, added little storage spots, and then we also added some chicken cages back here next to the chicken pen that is not doing a good job, as you can tell. There's a floating egg right there right now. But we also did work a little bit on the interior of the orcish farmhouse. So inside, we've got a little basic interior. It's not anything crazy, but we have a little coat rack right here, a nice little fireplace, a little study area or working area with a desk. And then we've got a storage spot underneath the staircase here. What do we got in here? Interiors. I gotta remember to pick that back up. And then a nice little kitchen in here for all the meat that we would be butchering in here. And then over here, we've got a solid mangrove table. Perfect for some orcs. Orcs love red, clearly. And then, of course, we've got another, like a cow head over here. And then going upstairs, we've got nothing. It's a peak male living space. But yeah, eventually I'll probably come up here and kind of work on this area. I'm not really sure how to do this top side. Obviously, I need to fill in the wall so that the roofing is not so, like, janky. But I think a janky roof for some orcs kind of makes sense. You know, orcs are kind of brutish, so their architecture might not be fully sound. A lot of Wild West towns are haphazardly thrown up, so I think it kind of makes sense that the Wild West style is also the orcish style. Oh, we've got a sniffer trying to break out here. Ooh, nice little torchlight seed here, or torch flower seed over here. I've been kind of coming over here and picking them up whenever I see them. Oh, we got a stowaway. Nope, nope, nope. Go back. I will punch you. He's probably close to dying now, but we'll breed him before we kill him. All right, so now that we're done with our tour, it's time for us to build a creeper farm. And for our farm, we can't use any designs with snowmen in it because under the hot Mesa sun, they actually turn into a puddle. So unfortunately, I need to use a cat-powered creeper farm, which is unfortunately very annoying to tame. So it's time we wrangle some cats and build this farm. All right, so the farm portion of the build is now complete, and it's looking pretty clunky. It's one of those very simple creeper farms that are powered by cats, and it is stackable, so there are actually 4 layers. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. And we've got cats here that are unfortunately permanent residents of the creeper farm. And then down here, we've got a little collection module that it should already be producing a few. Yeah, there we go. Already got a stack of gunpowder. A lot more than what I had. So it's going to be very nice to be able to fly around places a little easier. And then on top of the creeper farm, we've got a very simple sugarcane farm that is also stackable. So we can increase the size a few blocks out on this side and this side. Now, it's not going to be the most efficient farm, but I'm going to be AFKing up there later. So it should be able to run a little bit. I probably could add, like, if I push this back, I probably could add a second module here to increase the sugarcane output. But I honestly am not going to need that much like I'm not gonna need that many rockets probably, so it's not gonna be a big deal. Oh, and we did end up spawn proofing the caves and stuff kind of nearby the farm a little bit, and there is this absolutely monstrous cave system down here. If I wasn't already building a dwarven city in another area, I would probably choose this spot right here, because aside from this little spot right here, there's also another spot down somewhere. Where is it? Ah, yes, down here. Oh, and a wandering trader just spawned, so we'll go look for him in a little bit. But if we come down here with free cam, there's another large cave system down here. And then it leads all the way down here. Again, look at that. Look, there's even more spots that I haven't lit up yet. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, look at this. It's got underwater rivers and everything too. Oh, man. This would be like a prime location that dwarves would live in. And also it would be self-sustaining with all the water in here as well. So now that we have the actual farm part of the build complete, we do now have to build the exterior to make it look all spiffy. So I will have to gather a few more resources because I greatly underestimated the scope of this build. So we're gonna go grab some materials and come back. So off we went to our dwarven quarry in order to mine some stone, cobblestone, diorite, and tuff. Because for this build, we'll be using a lot of stone types for the main structure, as it makes sense that the brutish orcs would be using slabs of stone. Then we went to our dwarven yurts to collect some red wool to use for the classic red orcish style roofs. But we were fresh out of red wool, so we spent some time shearing some sheep. And finally, we spent some time in the pale garden to collect some pale oak to help shape the bony structures for this build. But yeah, so the farm itself is pretty clunky right now. It's pretty, not the most appealing looks-wise. So we're going to be adding a tower covering it, and then we're going to add the AFK spot all the way up at the tip of the tower. Orcish architecture is actually pretty hard to come by when you're looking for references. So, you know, World of Warcraft is all I could find, really. So a lot of these builds have to come off the dome, but this one we're going to lean a lot more on the Orcish architecture and focus less on the Wild West. I just want to have a really cool tower, and it's going to be the factory that's producing all the rockets for our world. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the build is finally complete, and look at that thing. It is quite tall. I love these unique build styles because you don't really see them often, and like this orcish theme looks super epic when you get them correct. Which I think for the most part, this is a pretty neat build, and I think I got the orcish theme pretty down on this one. Now, the palette for the build itself is not anything particularly crazy. I wanted to go with a reddish roof, so we ended up going with red wool that shows that really bright red that orc architecture uses. But then I needed some extra shaping, so I used some mangrove wood. But the contrast between the red colors is pretty drastic, so it's really unfortunate that there's no like red concrete stairs and whatnot. But this, for the meantime, is gonna suffice. I was getting to a point where I was like, I just need to get this build done. So I wasn't really sure what to color the base of the build. I ended up going with this grayish tone, so we use a stone mixture. So we use a lot of stone, light gray wool, and then the stone bricks, cobblestone, and then we use tuff as well. So tough blocks, and then polished tuff. I did try testing it out with birch to get that little warm color in the middle, but I just couldn't get it to look good. So we ended up just going with the basic stone. And then, of course, with orcish architecture, you need a lot of the bones, which the pale oak comes in really clutch at the moment. The pale oak really adds a lot of detail to these bony structures because you're able to add all these little trap doors to give it a little more shape. And then also these fence gates do a great job. But yeah, trap doors again. And then also these fence posts also, like, it just adds so much to the white build palette now that you can actually make some pretty decent bones. Because before you just had to use like quartz, and quartz was only so limited. I mean, it had staircases and slabs at least, but now with the pale oak, it adds so much depth. And then when you look at reference images for orcish architecture, they have these little ropes kind of holding the bones together. So acacia actually works out pretty well for the rope texture, or at least like support texture. So we've got like some lines here. So it works out kind of good for that. And so while we were building this, we got quite a bit of gunpowder, probably. I hope so, at least. Ah, yes. We got a few stacks of gunpowder, so we can make a few rockets, which I might need. Oh, don't have space for it right now, but we're gonna make some rockets later on. I could probably try to automate it, but I don't really know about that right now. Going up right now, you can only use the scaffolding. The interior, obviously, nothing crazy in here. I'm not sure if I want to even add some decorations there. There's not much room for an interior since there's this big creeper farm here. And then, of course, the sugarcane is super slow, so I might need to extend it a few more blocks out. Now, if we go all the way to the top of the tower, we can find our AFK spot. So you kind of just hit the pillar there. So at the top, we've got a little bony spire here, and this is our AFK spot. Now, it's not exactly the best spot to AFK since it is open to all of this. So you can't really AFK too long here, otherwise you'll run into the phantom problems. But one of the reasons why we built this as a tower was so that we could come up here and AFK. Now, I don't really AFK often in this world, so I probably won't really be doing much time up here. But when you're high up on the creeper farm, the mobs spawn a little closer to the actual tower itself instead of spawning out here. That's why when you come up high, honestly, this is not the ideal height. I think we have to go up like another 50 spots in order to get the ideal AFK spot, but this is what we got. But coming up to the middle floor, we've got a little platform here. And there's one thing that we need to do here, and that is to get a happy ghast, because I want to have this spot be a happy ghast area where the rocket factory kind of gets their supplies. All right, so we geared up a little bit for the nether. We've got some gold just in case, so we don't have to run into the piglins and throw down. Now we just need to find a soul sand valley to find these dried ghasts. All right, so I just spent like 20 minutes looking for a dried ghast. only to realize that I actually didn't reset my nether chunks. So now that we've reset the nether chunks, I should be able to find some dried gas now. Aha, and we found one. Just gotta tap it now. You can also apparently trade the piglins for dried gas, but it's supposed to be a pretty rare chance. All right, now that we've got our dried gas, we can put them in these little chambers in the bone, and we're gonna rehydrate until they turn into a little happy gas. All right, so I actually AFK'd a little bit at the creeper farm as we were waiting for the happy gas to dehydrate, or rehydrate rather. And it looks like they've finished because they're not here anymore. So now we just gotta look for where they flew off to. Ah, there they are. Now look at those little happy ghasts. Look so cute. All right, but now that we've got the happy ghasts here, oh, where is this one? Oh, where did you go, buddy? Ah, there you are. But yeah, so now that we have the happy gas, I think it makes sense that this rocket factory would have a method to receive goods as well as deliver goods. So the happy gas would kind of land in this spot right here. They'd pick up all the rockets and maybe deliver them out to all the other countries, like the Dwarven city that we've got. And then also when they need more materials, they would have an easy way to deliver the materials as well. So I just have to wait for these happy gas to grow up a little more, and then we can actually do that. Where are you? Now, while we wait for the gas to become adults, we can actually come over here and get ourselves some leather. Die. Need some leather for the harness. 4 leather should be fine. And then with that leather, we should be able to make a harness. However, you do that. Okay, so 3 leather up top, 2 glass, and then 1 red wool. Bam. Red harness. Gotta go with red for the orcs. And it looks like our gas have become adults now, so perfect timing. So now we can put this harness on them and take to the skies for the very first time, on a gas at least. Why, hello there. Okay, so we'll take, oh, I don't want both of you. Bam. How do I, all right, whatever. How do we look? Oh, this is sick. I broke my lead, but it's okay. Oh, it's kind of interesting how to like use it. It is a little clunky to navigate it just because I'm used to like going upwards, but it's very, very nice. Ooh, and you can go to the corners. Definitely would have been beneficial for me to have it to build this thing, but that's okay. I think Mojang's kind of cooking with all the mounts here. And they're also adding one for the underwater side, so we could eventually maybe even build an underwater kingdom. But we will have to see about that because the oceans are not very deep. Now, if Mojang would only let me ride goats from my dwarven area, that'd be fantastic. All right, it's a little janky getting into this little section right here, but we got in nonetheless. So hey, can't complain. Now where does that lead? The weather just changed just as I'm about to end the episode, but it looks pretty nice. It looks pretty grim, and the orcish theme definitely helps with that. Eventually down the line, I definitely want to landscape a little bit more to make this land kind of more orcish, I guess. So maybe add a lot more bones, maybe even a huge skeleton on this mountain or something like that. But we will have to see. Anyways, folks, that's all the time we have for this episode. If you liked the video, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye for now.